Hi, hello, how are you? It's Abundance of Books times, baby. What a weird intro. So recently, I've been feeling very overwhelmed by my TBR. My bookshelf, I only have these two. They're basically at capacity, and all of these vertical books are my TBR. Yes, I do have a TBR cart, but it's filled with junk right now, so I might be fixing that, but we're also planning on going to IKEA and grabbing a new bookshelf. But regardless, whether there is room on my bookshelves for these books, there is not room in my heart, and I need to call this. You know what? Let's count. It's 58 books. Oh no, it's not. 59, 60. It's 68 books. Oh, and there's a couple more. Regardless, it's too many. At this point in the year, I have read 86 books. So this is basically 9 months of reading and only backlist stuff. Like, it's not going to happen. There's no way I'm going to read all of these books. So we just need to be brutally honest with ourselves, but also not that brutal. We're going to do a try to chapter just for my own peace of mind, because I paid money for these books. I want to be sure that they're not something that I actually want to read. So what I'm going to do now is go through and pull out all of the ones that I could easily get rid of. Hopefully that's like 10 at least. And then over the next couple weeks, I'll read the first chapter of all of them and update you as to whether they're staying or going. First pile already has quite a few. Don't look at it. I should say, in combination with my feelings, I will definitely be looking at Goodreads reviews and ratings and stuff, because if there's something that's like a 4.5, I'm probably not going to get rid of it, even if the first chapter doesn't necessarily appeal to me. But let's do the first couple. Bookshop of Yesterdays by Amy Meyerson. This does sound interesting, but not necessarily my genre, so I think it could easily go. It's about a woman who inherits her eccentric uncle's bookstore, and there's like a scavenger hunt. It does sound good. We'll just read the first chapter, and hopefully the first chapter will be good. Then we've got The Cave Dwellers by Christina McDowell. This was pitched to me as Scandal, but in book form, and I don't know if I'm necessarily interested in reading about political stuff. There's some political stuff I'm interested in, but mostly it just bums me out because all these people are whiny and selfish. And then I've got Chaotic Good, which is about a cosplayer. She's accepted into the nerd inner sanctum. It's about D&D, which I play, which I think could be interesting, but I don't really have high hopes for this book. Okay, that's one stack slash heap down. Next one. The Love Square by Laura Jane Williams. This is something I've put on TBRs a bunch of times and just haven't gotten to it. Maybe it's that I don't know enough, and by reading the first chapter I will know more, but this is basically about a love triangle square. There's definitely other romances or contemporaries that I'm more interested in than this, so we'll see. Next pile. I grabbed two from here. The Woman Outside My Door by Rachel Ryan. This is a thriller that I've had forever, and I think it might just be a little basic. It's about a woman whose son has an imaginary friend, but maybe he's not imaginary. This is one for sure where I need to look at the ratings, because if this has like a 3.0, it's definitely not worth keeping. And then I also grabbed On the Other Side by Carrie Fletcher. This is one I technically have already read the first chapter, and it didn't really call to me, but I love Carrie Fletcher, so I'm gonna give it another go. And if it still doesn't call to me, I'm happy to let it go. That's 6. We're doing really well. This is one I think I can just get rid of. It's World War Z. I do have interest in reading this. Then why would I get rid of it? You know what? I think this actually is a good candidate for a try chapter, because I have seen the movie, and generally I don't like consuming the same story in multiple mediums, if that makes sense. Like, if I've seen the book, I don't really want to see the movie, and if I've seen the movie, I don't want to do the book. So this should blow me away in order to commit to it. Let's do this one, Spanish Love Deception. I bought this around the time of the Goodreads Choice Awards last year, where it won, in romance before all of the reviews came out saying, actually, this is trash. It's over 450 pages, which is definitely too long, and I definitely have a problem with pacing, so I'm going to be brutal with this one. Let's do this one too. A Totally Awkward Love Story by Tom Allen and Lucy Ivison. I feel like I've talked about this book forever. I can't believe I haven't read it yet. Madcap mishaps, raunchy hilarity, and deep romance follow these two wherever they go, only to have a misunderstanding drive them apart. Okay, so if this is just constant miscommunication tropes, this might not be a book for me. That's 9, so we just need one more, which I'm sure we can find. Let's do The Hazards of Time Travel by Joyce Carol Oates. This is a recent haul for me, but I'm dumb and I didn't read the back. I just saw Joyce Carol Oates and I was like, ah, that's a name I know. But it's about time travel, but they time travel back to cowboy times. I don't know, the back didn't make it seem super appealing, but maybe because this is a prolific author, the writing will really be a standout and it'll be something I'll keep. But there you go, these are the 10. Damn it. What is happening? No! Everybody just play nice. So there you go. These are the 10 books that I'm going to be trying a chapter of. You will see me shortly. I don't know when I'm gonna get around to these, but I'm excited to know, I guess, is really what I want, because I want to make room for all of the books that I really want to read. All right, thank you all so much. This isn't the end of the video. I don't know why I'm doing this. Cut to reading vlog portion. Hi, me again. I realized that I actually need to start a new book today. I finished the one I was reading, so what I'm gonna do is random number generate. If I'm not in the mood for it now, I'm not going to be in the mood for it ever. Just 1 to 10, top to bottom, and we'll get one done right away. Roll a d10. So we rolled a 0, which, figured out, is actually a 10. So we're doing this bottom book. It's The Cave Dwellers by Christina McDowell. Yeah, I can do this. This will be fun. We start with a family tree. Good to know. And then part 1, we've got a 3-page prologue, and then a 7-page first chapter. So I'll read both of those and then let you know. Hello, it is the next morning and I read not even all of what I said I was gonna do. I read the prologue and 2 pages. No, this is not for me. It's very much just about sleazy politics. You know, it's not about like interesting maneuvering. I'm trying to think of an equivalent. The Expanse is a good one that I just read, where Avarasala is part of the UN and she's trying to protect people but also protect her position. This is more just like assholes being assholes. And I checked and the average rating on this is a 3.25 and the top review on it is 1 star, talking about how much it sucks. So I'm happy to unhaul this, which means we can pick our next book. I think I'm gonna go random again. I don't see any reason not to. Pick a number between 1 and 9. There you go, 1. Sure. And that is A Totally Awkward Love Story. Interesting. It's funny having had this book for so long. I feel like I connect with it despite knowing what the story actually is. So the first chapter is 21 pages and it starts with Hannah, but it looks like it switches perspective halfway through the chapter, which is fine. I don't love that, but at least I'm getting both perspectives within that first chapter, so I can make a pretty good decision on this. Second book down, this one is also going to be an unhaul. I didn't fully read the first chapter. I thought that the writing in it was pretty good, and it starts off with these 3 friends, and I think that they have a pretty good dynamic between them. But then I checked Goodreads. This has a 3.4, which is really low, and it also came out in 2014, yeah. So it already reads kind of dated, and YA, like, that's not necessarily something I'm invested in, and apparently the main plot of this story is about the main characters losing their virginity, which is not something that I'm interested in reading about. So it's interesting to try a chapter, enjoy the chapter, and still get rid of it, but I think that's the right decision. And now it's time to pick the next one. I'm enjoying how quickly I'm flying through these. It's really motivating. Pick a number between 1 and 8. It's a 6. Okay, what book is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The Love Square. Okay, let's see what we got for this one. We've got a prologue that's 4 pages, and then a 17-page first chapter. It might not be that bad, like the text in this is actually pretty big. I'm also curious if this is YA. I don't think it is. Doesn't say. I'll read it and let you know. I did the first chapter of The Love Square and it was fine. It feels like it'll be a 3-star. You know, if I was gonna stick with this, it's not gonna be anything life-changing, so I think I'm ready to get rid of it. But then I did check, and the Goodreads score on this is a 3.44, which is too low for me. I'm generally pretty in line with the Goodreads stuff. Horror is the only thing that like is super subjective, but generally in a contemporary, consensus can be reached. So this is a no as well. But then it made me think 3.44 is super low. So I went and got the Goodreads average rating for all of these. And this is the order from lowest to highest. So I went through the next few in order. Hazards of Time Travel by Joyce Carol Oates. This has a 2.97. I think this is the one too where they said it started off strong and then got bad. And I wasn't feeling the beginning anyway, so this is a definite no. Bookshop of Yesterdays by Amy Meyerson, however, is a yes. Yes to keeping, not to unhauling. It has a 3.65, but everyone says that it's a super charming mystery and that the mystery part of this is really strong. And I am still interested in that. The writing didn't super do anything for me. It starts in the past too, which I think maybe I just don't care. Once we get to like the bookshop stuff, it'll be good. I meant to check if this had an audiobook because this feels like a very solid audiobook contender. But right now I'm happy to keep this. We don't have a pile for keep. This hasn't happened yet. I'll put it down here. And then on the other side by Carrie Fletcher has a 3.67, which is fine, but the majority of the reviews that I read were like 2 to 3 stars, sort of. Saying it was kind of boring, kind of cliche, and that's sort of how I felt because this is already a reread for me. So this is going. And then The Woman Outside My Door has a 3.71, which is honestly pretty in line for a thriller. And the beginning of this I actually enjoyed. I'm concerned because it centers quite a bit around kids, and those can be not great for me in general. Books about moms where their whole thing is being a mom, those don't work for me, but I'm still intrigued enough by this to keep it. It's also only 275 pages, which encourages me. Which just leaves us with 3, which I'm gonna do right now. We're gonna finish this up. I haven't really been sticking to my own rules. I've been skimming the chapters quite a bit. This is a chapter, and I am trying it. I'm just not fully reading all of the words. But I'm in an unhauly mood, so that's fine with me. Let's get through these last 3. I'll tell you the ratings before we go. Chaotic Good has a 3.84, and everyone said it was like fine, you know? Spanish Love Deception actually still has a 3.96, which is really high. I thought that this would be a lot lower based on the number of people who read it for the hype and then gave it like a 1 star. But people must like it. If I was going to bet about any of these books, I think this one's going to get unhauled. And then World War Z is the only one to crack 4 stars. It has a 4.01, so technically a 4. And this one is just going to be really dependent on the rating because I know the story. So despite it being the highest rating, it is still going to have to do a lot of work to stay. All right, let's wrap this up. Talk about the final 3 books. I started with Chaotic Good, and immediately I wasn't super on board with this because it starts off with this woman in a comic book store and the manager's kind of being snooty to her because she's a girl. And that's fine, but not necessarily something I want to read, and it just doesn't give me 5-star energy. I think this book would be perfectly fine, but I have other things I'm more excited about than this. Then I read The Spanish Love Deception, and I'll be honest, I didn't hate this as much as I thought I would. there is part of me that wants to keep going. But the big thing with this is it already felt really overwritten. It felt like things were taking twice as long as they needed to. There were twice as many words as needed to be there, especially considering the lack of, like, not world building, but things outside of the character's own head. So I read more reviews of this, and it said basically it just goes on and on and on and on, and that it is a poor man's hating game, which is already a book that I did not really enjoy. It's very much pitched as for fans of the hating game, fans of Sally Thorne, and I am neither. It is also blurbed by Helen Wong, who wrote The Kiss Quotient, which is one of my favorite books. But I don't think I can do it. But part of me wants to. I feel like I want to know, even if I don't think I'll enjoy it. I did check, and there is an audiobook for it, but give me a sec, because I need to know how long it is, because that will really affect how I feel. Yeah, okay. It's a 14, why am I so blue? Maybe I was always this blue. It's a 14.5-hour audiobook. No, I'm not invested enough. That's far too long to enjoy something, ironically. It's too bad, but like, there's no there's no stakes here. If I end up wanting to read this one day, or if I read it from the library and end up really loving it, I can just buy it again. This is just a reminder to be better about my buying habits. So yeah, that's an unhaul. And then the final book, World War Z by Max Brooks. I really enjoyed it. So this has to blow me away with the writing, and yeah, I really enjoyed the writing. I love the way that it's reflecting on the war already. I think it's really interesting. My concern with this is I hate zombies. We watched a horror movie the other day that was about zombies, and I just check out. They're just like not scary to me. It's just not interesting. But I really enjoyed the writing here. I read Max Brooks's other book, Devolution, and really enjoyed it. But the big decider with this is that it has a full cast audiobook with like 15 narrators, which is the same thing as Devolution, and is just such a fun reading experience. I think this could be really good. I think this could really work for me, so I'm gonna keep it. And that is something in common with the other two books that I'm keeping. These both also have audiobooks available from my library, so I will be very motivated to read them. I feel like I'll regret this, especially because it's October already, but I'm gonna have a follow-up vlog where I read all of these and determine if I made the right decision. So look forward to that. I would love to do it sooner than later, but with end of the year stuff coming up, I'm not committing to it, but I'm committing to it generally. You will be seeing all of these books again, so get excited for that. So in the end, we are keeping these 3, and we are unhauling these 7. I think it's interesting I didn't keep any of the romances. Yeah, this is 3 romances, 3 contemporaries, and 1 speculative, but that's the time travel one with the lowest rating ever, so I feel pretty good about this. All right, that's it. Thank you so much for joining me. Link in the description if you're watching this in the future when I have done the follow-up vlog. It'll be right there for you to watch. Thank you so much for joining me, and I will see you very soon in another video. Bye.